Here. Thank you, Trace. Good morning. I'd like to call the regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, August 2nd, 2021 to order. This will be a Zoom meeting as is still allowed by the executive order and legislative action. Our first piece of business is Pledge of Allegiance. Charles, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Charles. Second item on the agenda, public forum. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address the board on any item on the agenda? Anyone? Not sure. Okay. No, we have no one. All right. Item 3, and that's approved minutes. 3.1 would be the July 19th, 2021 regular meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Comments, questions, changes, suggested changes? None? I had none myself. Let me try your minds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstained.
Abstention?
Wasn't present.
That motion carries. And for the record, I didn't go around asking each one individually, so it took me a couple of meetings to get back on track, right?
Yeah, just before we probably have to.
Go back.
Don't say it.
Oh, my goodness,
Don't
Charles.
say it. Charles, that's probably a good point to bring up at this point. Over the weekend, I was going back and forth with Sonia Marino, our health director, and the CDC guidance that came out at the end of last week. It recommends masking for indoors, even if you have been vaccinated. So I will officially be reinstating the mask mandate today for the town facilities, all the town buildings, and urging others to do the same. So again, it's unfortunate. We've seen such a dramatic increase in cases over what we've seen in the past several months. And again, just this weekend, I think there were 9 new cases since the Friday. So it warrants it. Nonetheless, item 4, Finance Director Mary Jane Malavasi, 4.1. Discuss and take possible action on a resolution to authorize issue and sell general obligation refunding bonds. MJ?
Good morning.
Good morning.
We did discuss this at your last meeting, so if you have any further question, that's fine. However, this is the resolution that would authorize us to move forward with refunding the 2015 bond authorization that we have outstanding. It includes high school funds, school funds, and town funds. So it incorporates all of our funding opportunities. It will be over a 15-year term, which is the balance left on the term, with a potential of $2.6 million savings over those 15 years, with approximately $150,000 in saving in the current fiscal year. So we need the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Selectmen only to authorize and approve the resolution that would allow us to move forward.
Mary Jane, thank you very much for that. I think this is something we clearly have to move forward with. 2.6 million over those 15 years will ease the burden on taxpayers over time. Mary Jane, I want to thank you for the work you've done with our advisors, Bill Lindsay in particular, to make this happen. We've just come through, as I think most of you understand. We went out to the street for about $6 million in bonds and bans, 3 million in bonds and 2.6 million in bans. The rates were terrific. The downside of the rates being terrific are we're not anything on interest income on the other side, but nonetheless, we were, and as a result of the review by S&P and Fitch, we were rated AAA by both of them. So we're in good shape to go back out to the market one more time. So Mary Jane, thank you very much. Anyone have any?
Matt, so I would just like to add that because we were just out into the market, this refunding, the bond issuance costs will be lower because a lot of the stuff we can carry over from that issuance just a couple of weeks ago.
Great.
Thank you, MJ. Anything further? No, is there a motion? Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll move.
Second.
Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, let me try your minds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, recusals? Hearing none.
Almost.
Oh, my God.
Move along, man.
Is that something we have to sign, or that's just we're passing it? Because there's no signature page on what's in board packet.
No, there's not a signature page. MJ, any signatures required other than,
On this, no, not on the resolution.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, MJ. Item 5, Board of Ed Director of Operations, Cliff Gurnham. 5.1, consider and take possible action to contract with Silver Petrocelli and Associates for construction administration for the Cox Elementary School boiler project. Cliff, good morning, and want to just give us your Reader's Digest version of this?
So real quick, and this is kind of our normal process. Once we do the design and bid of the project, in this case, we did the Cox boiler and HVAC project. We go back and we ask for a construction administration cost since we have a full understanding of the scope and normally a schedule at this point, so they can give us a very specific construction administration cost. So we did this, we got the proposal back, and the standing building committee went through the proposal. They determined that the HVAC portion of this proposal is put on hold for this time. So they reviewed strictly the construction administration cost for the boilers and recommended moving forward and awarding just the construction administration for the boilers in the amount of $9,600.
Any questions?
I do have a question. Cliff, can you tell us why the full project is not going ahead at this time?
It's primarily due to the schedule for the HVAC portion of the project. The further we reviewed it with the lowest bidder, it was going to be upwards of 9 to 10 months to do the project. And that was going to be too much. We felt that us, the Board of Ed, the Standing Building Committee, all felt it's going to be too much disruption for the school. All the access points for the HVAC equipment is through classrooms. So none of the work can really be done on first shift. It all have to be done on second shift. You'd have units down for an extended period of time. So it makes more sense to push the project to the summer of 2022. We will order the equipment ahead of time, have everything in storage come May and June, so that we can kick off and really get it done over the summer and not disrupt the occupants of the school during the school year. So that's still under final discussion with the contractor and negotiations, but that's what we're discussing at this point, is to push it off.
When you say negotiations, you mean dollars and cents?
Yes, to some, because there could be some sort of cost change, either up or down, depending on what the market does over the next 9 months to a year.
Cliff, thanks for the explanation. This project was funded with bond authorization. So we need to be concerned about creeping up to the upper limits of that. Do you recall the differential between what was authorized for bonding and what you had originally thought was going to be the final contract with this firm?
Yes, we are well underneath that. The project is several of the projects came in well underneath their expected or estimated costs. So we have plenty of funding to cover this.
Any other questions? All right, so is there a motion to award the contract for construction administration to Silver Petrocelli and Associates in the amount of $9,600.
Yes, I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, let me try your minds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, refusals, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Cliff, 5.2, discuss and take possible action to contract with Silver Petrocelli for construction administration for the Guilford Lakes Elementary School HVAC and boiler upgrade project. Floor is yours.
So very similar to the Cox project. However, this one we're moving forward on both the HVAC and the boiler projects. So we have received the construction administration proposal from Silver Petrocelli and Associates for the work. The Standing Building Committee had reviewed the costs and felt the costs were reasonable based upon the scope of the project and the schedule. So they are recommending you approve and move forward with Silver Petrocelli and Associates in the amount of $24,000.
Excellent. Any, well, is there a motion to award to Silver Petrocelli?
I'll move it, but I do have a question.
I figured you. Second. Charlie?
The difference between the two projects, why this one works and the other one didn't.
Sorry, can you say that again? I missed that.
The difference between the two projects, why this one works and the other one didn't.
Primarily because of the location of access for the HVAC equipment. None of the equipment's accessed through any classrooms. It's all accessed through maintenance or equipment areas. So we can get up above up into the attic spaces and do work during the first and second shifts. So the schedule is shorter and it shouldn't interrupt the students and staff with the construction. So that's why we moved forward with this one.
Interesting, the construction of the two schools is just so much different. Huh? That's interesting.
Yep.
Okay. And the price of equipment, well, this is a part of that. So. Okay, that's it.
That's it. Anything else? Hearing none, let me try your minds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Refusals? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Cliff. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Item 6, Fire Chief Charles Herzog, 6.1, discuss and take possible action on the purchase of a Chevy pickup truck with snowplow package off the state contract 19 PSX 0161. Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning. This is to replace our primary truck we use for plowing the complex up here and other work that we do with it. The price that's in front of you from the state contract is $40,787.88. That is just for the body, excuse me, just the chassis. So in other words, the cab and the rails. We received 2 additional quotes for the New Haven body and Hartford truck, because we use Reading body because they're the ones that stand up the best. And this price includes from New Haven body, which is the low price, for $15,582. I'm not sure how the board was creating that. I just want to make sure that there's no confusion.
Okay.
So it's at 40 plus 15, and what about the 11 here?
That's in the 40.
It's in a,
That, oh, the 11,
Yeah, I had to read this 3 times too. Right under very, where it says base model description, there's a base contract price number that's 30,000 change, $400 change. And then you scroll down and then there's the sort of the accessories on the vehicle.
oh, page 1 and 2 are, okay. I see the difference.
Sorry about that, Charles.
It's all there. Just have to scroll a little bit.
Okay, so we're talking 55 approximately.
56,369.88 if I add it right.
For a vehicle, I suspect gets an awful lot of use.
Yes.
Yes, Chief, can you tell us why the fire department has its own snowplow when the town owns a bunch of snowplows? How does that work for you?
Well, we take care of the whole complex up here, plus our other properties, the other firehouses, and plus we respond with this truck with emergencies during major storm events, including high water events. Public work trucks are tied up doing everything else. We've had a very bad experience years ago where we didn't have our own plow truck and the outcome was not good.
Okay, so you're more in control of the way it's used.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
excellent.
I think you prioritize the firehouse.
Firehouse, yes.
And they've helped out with town hall, and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Needless to say, the old truck is, worn out, right?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the purchase in the amount that Charlie just said?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any further questions? Ready, try your minds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, recusal, hearing none, motion carries. Thanks, Charlie. Okay, 6.2, consider and take possible action on purchase of a Chevy Tahoe off-state contract. Same one, 19 PSX 0161. Charlie?
Right. This is going to replace my vehicle for the price of $37,922. They don't make my particular vehicle anymore, and due to the flooding conditions that are occurring more often, I decided that we should have something a little bit more elevation off the ground and not have water rolling over the hood. So we figured we go to a Tahoe for the price of $37,922, $922 even.
Yep, no sense, okay. Questions? All right, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
And a second?
Second.
No further discussion, we try your minds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. Charlie, thank you very much.
Have a good day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gonna have to get used to seeing you in a different vehicle.
Yes.
All right, item 7, Town Engineer Janice Blasiak, 7.1, discuss and take possible action on the Connecticut DOT project authorization letter for the Route 77 pedestrian improvements project and authorize First Selectman to sign the appropriate documents. Good morning, Janice.
Good morning. I did want to point out there are actually 2 items for your consideration. The first one was the contract with Ty and Bond for the construction, administration, and inspection services that was attached to the packet. And then subsequently, the project authorization letter for the project from DOT. So I just want to make it clear there were two items seeking your approval, both tied together pretty much. So with regard to Ty and Bond's contract, if you recall, we had selected them under a process for qualifications and entered into contract with them to do all the design services for the project. And now that we're ready to put the project out to bid and proceed to construction, the next phase will involve, which wasn't included in our original contract, construction administration and inspection services. There was an attached document that broke down the costs, but overall estimated at $258,022.75 for that contract. There's the requirement under this funding program to have full-time on-site inspection during construction for the construction of the new sidewalk system on Route 77. So that would be the first item that I would be seeking your approval on.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to add that item to the agenda?
Yes, so moved.
And a second? Let me try your minds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. All right, is there a motion to approve the contract with Ty and Bond for the construction administration services, inspection services, et cetera? And I think the amount was $258,022.75. Is there a motion for that?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
A second?
Second.
Questions?
I do have a question though. So this project, and we have oversight because obviously it's in town, but it's on Route 77. So can you just explain a little bit further the relationship, our relationship with the state as this thing moves forward?
Sure. So it's a federally funded project, which is then administered by the state DOT for purposes of the funding. And therefore, there are, specific requirements on how the project proceeds with review and inclusion of DOT along, even though it's considered a municipal project. The added interest here is the fact that the project ends up being on a state highway. But regardless of whether it was on the state highway or not, we'd still need to follow this process, similar to the process we're following for the Sawmill Road Bridge. which is entirely on the town road. And so as part of the process, you're required to have full-time on-site inspection. And that's what these costs, and as well as project administration, which includes a lot of paperwork and documentation for purposes of meeting the funding requirements through the state.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you.
For those who may recall, these funds were originally slated for the Duck Plains pathway, which that were diverted the funds to the Route 77 project. And again, just for those who aren't familiar, this is basically extending sidewalks from Adams Middle School all the way up to the cemetery. So there are a significant number of young adults and middle school students who frequently use this passageway to get to the public safety complex, the basketball courts there, Arts Alliance, not the Arts Alliance, but the Shoreline Arts Center, or the Guilford Arts Center rather, and then also the Guilford Racket Club. So this will provide significant safety enhancements for those using that area. So.
And there's some real, we've heard, we've been getting updates as this has been going along, there's some real consideration of the difficulty of getting through the exit and on-ramp
areas.
to the area, and obviously all that's been worked out.
Well, it's been worked out, but not to the satisfaction that we had hoped originally. Janice's frustration, I think, is probably pretty evident. We were working to get a light on the the southbound side of that exit ramp, that southbound exit ramp, which even our police department has detailed is one of the more dangerous intersections in town. But the state, in its infinite wisdom, has determined that it is not as warranted as we think it might be. So we'll continue to plug away at that over time, though.
Okay, thanks for that update. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we have a motion on the table. Are there any other questions or comments? Can we try your minds? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Hearing none? Motion carries. All right, so 7.2 now would be the project authorization letter for the Route 77 pedestrian improvements project, and authorize the first selectman to sign the state documents, which I think I have a copy of them. Have you guys seen them or not?
There's a number of times.
Yeah, okay. All right, first of all, is there a motion for Cindy?
So moved.
And a second? All right, comments, questions, anything else on that, Janice? This is pretty perfunctory, as I understand it.
Right, this just memorializes all the costs to date for the project to allow us to proceed to bidding the project. So this includes all the construction administration inspection costs. They've added in some costs for the DOT's costs. We have, that's part of the project for their work on the project going forward, as well as utilities and the like.
Thank you. Further questions? No. Hearing none, we'll try your minds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Hearing none. Motion carries. Janice, just a quick question. Now that this is behind us and the document will be signed today back to the state, how soon do you think we'll be able to get out the RFP?
So the main thing is that DOT is trying to secure the funds through the feds with this approval. And then we are hoping to have the project out to bid by later this month, early September at the latest.
Excellent. Thank you. Any further questions? Janice, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Okay. Item 8, Human Rights Commission. Joe Kehoe, I see has just magically appeared on my screen.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Joe. And we're here to consider and take possible action on the proposal for an adult public educational forum on critical race theory. Joe, the floor is yours. And for those who don't know, Joe is chair of the Guilford Human Rights Commission. So, and Joe, you're being joined virtually and in person by some folks I think are here to support you. So.
Oh, okay. Thank you, folks who are potentially there to support us. As you all know, I'm sure, CRT, critical race theory, is a hot button issue in Guilford at the moment. And those of us on the commission have observed both in having conversations with some folks around town and from some of the things that we've seen on social media groups that are Guilford related, that there seems to be a lot of confusion and misconceptions around what CRT actually is, what its origins are, what its primary theories are. So we invited Angela Robinson, who is a retired lawyer and Superior Court judge here in Connecticut, who currently teaches CRT at Quinnipiac Law School, to come in and speak at our last meeting. I think, Matt, you were there, and Lou, I believe you were there as well. I think I remember seeing you there. And what she did for us was present a PowerPoint overview that was about an hour long. And we would like her to present this same PowerPoint presentation to the community. For myself, I feel that when I want to learn about something, I want to learn about it from somebody that teaches it, who's an expert in it, and who is also non-biased about it. In bringing this educational forum, or hoping to bring this educational forum to Guilford, we are not in any way trying to say that people should believe in critical race theory, but hoping to simply provide people with an accurate overview of what it is, so that people can make informed decisions about it for themselves.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joe, for that explanation. I have one question, which I think is probably will be on the minds of perhaps my other board members and the public at large. Will Judge Robinson be addressing the question of whether or not it is actually being taught in the Guilford Public School system?
She won't. I mean, Paul Freeman and the Board of Education have repeatedly stated ad nauseum at this point that CRT is not what is being taught in the Guilford Public Schools. And as Angela explained to us when she presented to the GHRC, CRT is something that is generally taught on a graduate level of college. It is not something that is taught in elementary or middle or high schools. So to us and to Judge Robinson, these are two completely separate issues. I know that they've been conflated quite a bit lately, but they are in fact not the same thing.
Any other questions
I have a question.
or comments?
It is here because Board of Selectmen is responsible for choosing their programs.
Approving them. Yeah, Charlie, and when we wrote the charter, the ordinance on it was pretty explicit that the commission would come back to us for approval on their programming and their interactions in the community, and most of their interactions in the community.
All right, I just want to understand why it's here. I'm actually very glad it's here because, we as Board of Selectmen, it's not only our responsibility to try to manage the town the best we can, but it's also our responsibility to be as fair and equitable to all of our citizens and taxpayers. And I really appreciate your work, Joe, in bringing this to the fore and giving our citizens an opportunity to understand, like you said, from an expert and from a non-biased perspective. So I strongly support going forward. I don't know if this needs a motion or if that can move.
I think a motion to approve the
Program.
would be, do you want to make that
I'll move
motion?
it.
Second,
I'll second.
any further comments?
I have a couple of questions actually on it. So is this going to be live, Zoom, or hybrid?
This is going to be presented via Zoom. There are a few reasons that we decided to go that way. The first is that the morning after Judge Robinson gave her presentation to us, she received a threatening email from a Guilford resident, essentially saying that she would not be welcome here. And at this point, she is not comfortable physically being in Guilford. The second reason that we would prefer or have decided to go with Zoom is because of the uptick in COVID with the Delta variant. Just doesn't seem responsible, frankly, at this point, to ask hundreds of people to get into a packed auditorium to listen to her speak. So this will be taking place via Zoom. As you can see, our proposed date is August 10th. This will also make it more accessible to the public in general. You know, anyone with mobility issues will be able to do a playback on the GHRC Facebook page so that it's widely available. So for safety reasons and practicality, we are looking at Zoom for this, yes.
Joe, I assume, and I hope you've expressed to, I'm sorry, I missed your name here. But I hope you expressed to her that that certainly doesn't represent, you know, the feelings of this community and, you know, my personal disappointment. And Frank discussed it, a situation like that where she doesn't feel welcome in our community. Just, it isn't Guilford and it shouldn't be. And I'm just dismayed. And I hope you express that to her.
I thank you for that. I think that Judge Robinson is very aware that she has many people who are supportive of her here in Guilford. She was frankly more concerned about people of color currently living in Guilford and the kind of climate that they might be experiencing here. So
So disappointing.
she is feeling, it is very disappointing, but she is, I think her exact words to me were that she's feeling energized and is very happy and excited to be able to present this information to the people of Guilford.
Good.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Let me add my comments as well. I was quoted in the paper shortly after that event that I was significantly disappointed that it was reprehensible, and it did not represent Guilford. Joe, the one question I have, you did mention that it was a Guilford resident. Have we been able to determine with certainty, because my other quote to the paper was, we don't know who this individual is, but what we do know is that it is not acceptable. So have we been able to determine that it was in fact a Guilford resident that sent that email?
No, Judge Robinson declined to go in and file a complaint with the police department. Chief Hyatt was very supportive after that email was sent to her, both of me, other members of the Human Rights Commission, many of whom, as I know you're all aware, are people of color who felt very concerned for themselves and their families here in Guilford. But because Judge Robinson has declined to file an official report, to my knowledge, no, that hasn't been traced. I would say, however, that although I very much understand wanting to believe that no one in Guilford would send an email like that, some of the racist rhetoric that I've seen and heard here in town, I'll say that I would not be shocked if someone in Guilford had sent that email to her.
I would agree with that.
Luke. So Joe, thanks for doing this. It's obviously, as you say, it's a hot button issue right now. A lot of people are engaged in this, and I won't repeat the discuss with the reprehensible behavior of people sending emails like that, and that's completely out of bounds. But my question is there going to be a question and answer portion of this? I mean, there's no sense in having a forum where everybody lines up and says exactly the same thing from the same perspective. There should be open debate, and reasonable people can express reasonable opinions in some way, and I would want to make sure that this forum gives that opportunity.
Yes, there will be a question and answer period afterward. At this point, we're looking to set this up as a webinar, which Tracy, I'm sorry, that's something I'm going to be bothering you with later today, depending on the outcome of all of this. The reason that we want to set it up as a webinar is to prevent disruption, particularly in the form of Zoom bombings.
Yeah.
I know that, that's happened to multiple groups in Guilford, and I just don't have the tolerance for that and don't want to risk that. So what people will be able to do after she presents is send in questions to the facilitators, and that will be Judge Robinson and myself. And she has expressed absolute willingness to answer questions that are challenging, what she's speaking about. So we're not going to be cherry picking, softball questions that are easy to answer. She's not interested in that, and neither am I. So I don't know that this would qualify as a debate per se, but there absolutely will be an opportunity for people to ask questions and have them answered.
Wonderful.
Another question?
Thank you. Actually, nailed it. With the Zoom bombing concerns, so we'll wait to hear that whole format.
This is really got me more than a little annoyed at this point. Well, never mind the fact that, Judge Robinson is uncomfortable, but now we have a commission that's uncomfortable with dealing with our citizens.
Concerns with their safety. It's just
Yeah.
outrageous.
Judge Robinson doesn't want to file a complaint. Is there a way for this board to pursue that kind of?
Yes, there is. And now that could be some conversations with Chief Hyatt. They have techniques, that technology,
Yeah, I mean,
access to technology to try to.
This kind of stuff, it's got to, it can't be taught. So you would like, any of us to be involved in that conversation. I got to tell you, I am not happy that, never mind, we're trying to bring in an expert to enlighten our citizens, but to have a commission and a speaker uncomfortable dealing with Guilford citizens is just wrong. It's just not right. And, I think we should pursue it to the extent possible.
Joe, if you don't mind, I'll share some of the conversations you and I had after this. I had some conversations with the State Rep Scanlon and Senator Cohen about this, about how we would show support or apologize to Judge Robinson. And one of the things that we had discussed was, as a group, Christine, myself, Sean, and Candelora, and then perhaps members of the balance of this board and any other elected officials who would be willing to escort Angela Robinson into an in-person meeting as a show of solidarity and a show of strength. I passed that along to Joe, but Joe, in talking with Judge Robinson, she still does not want to come here. And for a variety of reasons. And I'm hoping that it isn't for her safety, but it could well be for her safety, but also not to continue to inflame a group that has already demonstrated a willingness to behave outside the norms of civilized society. So,
what do you think of this board presenting a resolution prior to this webinar, sending that very, very clear message that, number one, our disappointment, and number two, that it will not be tolerated and whatever is strongest language possible. I just think that, we as elected leaders, have to send a message to experts and to anybody that they have to feel comfortable in our community. I mean, this is just not right.
I agree, Charles. So I'll take that on myself to start to craft some kind of resolution that condemns this behavior and probably offers a public apology too.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment. I mean, everything we have worked to make this community a safe and strong and community is just destroyed in 10 words with somebody hiding behind a keyboard.
Sometimes I've seen, I think it's a paid announcement. If we wrote this, it could be printed in the newspaper as our public statement. So
We'll issue as a press release as well.
Okay.
At this point, in the action that we take on this proposal, can we take it a step further and at least express our welcome? I mean, the person in that email made the comment about being met with resistance. Maybe that's true, but what we have to do is be stronger and make sure that Judge Robinson is met with a stronger welcome.
Right.
Do me a favor, because I'll take this on. If you could each just send me a couple of points of what you think need to be included in the resolution.
Okay.
Because I don't want this to be just mine.
Absolutely.
All right.
You're
Excellent.
so much better at work.
I'll take suggestions and meld it. Just to make sure.
This is gonna be the type of email we're gonna have to write and put in aside over.
You're absolutely right. Wonderful. Okay, so, we'll probably need to have a special meeting to approve the resolution. We could do that via Zoom relatively easily, over the next couple of days, because this is, the 10th is Tuesday, next Tuesday, so, get this on, get this done in the next day or two.
Well done, everybody.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so to the action at hand, is there a motion to approve the adult educational forum on critical race theory as presented to us?
I like it.
Thank you, Charles.
I'd like to second that.
And second, and second as well, second as well.
Yeah.
Seconds all the way
Yeah.
around.
Perfect.
All right, let me try your minds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. Joe, thank you very much, and thank you for all the work you and your commission, your committee are doing, so.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for your decision today to craft a resolution on this. I'm very thankful to have this governing board in place in this town. So thank you.
Our pleasure. It's always easy to do the right thing, isn't it? Not always easy, not always easy, but it's always the right thing.
It's important.
It's important. So, thank you for that discussion. Item 9, consider and take possible action on a noise variance application from the Guilford Agricultural Society for the fair taking place September 17th and 19th, 2021.
Yay.
Hooray.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a motion?
Sounds like Sue just.
I'll make a motion.
So, yeah,
The
yeah.
noisier the better.
Okay, let me try your minds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. Appointments and resignations. Act on a resignation received from Bernie Lombardi from the Marina Commission. I'm going to make that motion with a tremendous amount of appreciation and regret for Bernie taking his leave. He's been a tremendous board member for a number of years. I think he even went on and off to get around the 2-year term, the 2-term limit at different points. But I make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Let me try your mind. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Hearing none, motion carries. 10.2, act on a recommendation to move Kit Wilcox from an alternate member to a regular member on the zoning board of appeals.
I'd like to make that motion.
There you go. And a
Second.
second. We try your minds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Hearing none, motion carries. 10.3, act on a recommendation to reappoint Maureen Rauchi to the Human Rights Commission for a term to expire on June 30th, 2025. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Second. We try your minds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. 10.4, act on a recommendation to appoint Alexander Hoffman to the Human Rights Commission for a term to expire June 30th, 2025. I'd like to make that motion. Early on, Alex was a member of an ad hoc advisory group that basically proposed putting the Human Rights Commission together.
Oh.
So now he's come full circle and he's going to participate as a member. So I'd like to make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Innocent. Let me try your minds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, recusals and abstentions, none. Motion carries. Item 11, request for use of town property. Act on a request from St. John's Episcopal Church to place a sign on the green advertising its Bluegrass Festival taking place August 28th, 2021. Rain date 8/29, sign placement 8/14 to 8/28. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
A second. I think this is a new event, right?
Yeah.
Bluegrass.
Bluegrass. That should be fun. Okay. Let me try your minds. All in favor?
Aye. And just so we're clear, this is a request for a sign on the green.
Green, right.
It's being held somewhere else,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I think is up North Guilford.
Yeah. I think it is.
So is the event the 28th, 29th, or what? It doesn't say.
28th, rain date the 29th. Yeah.
That's it.
At least-
Okay, okay, very, yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, so let me try your minds. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. Committee reports, anything?
Library use of green.
Oh, yeah, wait.
New business. Problem.
Okay, item 15, new business, so we need to add to the agenda. Act on a request from the Guilford Free Library to use the Green August 21, 2021 for our children's program. Is there a motion to add it to the agenda?
So moved.
And a second. Let me try your minds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. As to the agenda item itself, is there a motion to approve the use of the green for children's program by the Guilford Free Library?
So moved.
And a second. Let me try your minds. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, recusals, hearing none, motion carries. Okay, thank you very much for keeping me on task here. And I need to bring something up under committee reports. Sandy, you may have access to it quicker than I do. George, let's see. I think I deleted it. Didn't George send out an update last week on the affordable housing project that they?
He did, but I left my phone at home, so
Nah,
I don't
okay.
have it. But basically, it continues to go through these, I don't want to use the word tedious, but state processes to get the funding that is needed for the NeighborWorks, New Horizons, not-for-profit development company that is going to build this project. And it's just always slower than we hope, but it is in the works. So that was basically what he said.
Pretty sure tedious is the only word.
Yeah, it is.
That applies to the process.
I'm trying to be positive.
Okay.
Thank you for following through.
Yeah.
And I guess I do have one other thing to say. When Chris Widmer came to the Board of Selectmen about 6 weeks ago to suggest that this board might want to enact or consider enacting an ordinance about the way we assess affordable houses. And that said, oh, we'll send that to Sandy's committee. So we met about that. And we met with Chris Widmer, and Peter Barrett is involved, and we do have a model ordinance from a model of an ordinance. I don't know if it's the model ordinance, but an ordinance from Madison that is helpful. And we were going to look to see what some other towns had done. So we have not forgotten about that. And it may come back in front of this board.
Thank you, Sandy. Yeah. Okay, I don't think we have any other committee reports at this point. Other than, I just want to take a minute, as 2 weeks ago, we approved the contract for Guilford Employees Association. I understand that we have an agreement in principle with Guilford Supervisors Association in place, and we're closing in on the fire department as well. And the dispatcher one is pretty close to final. So I just want to thank all of you for the work that you've done. And that's really like committee work that you've done on those negotiations. So thank you very much for the work. And hopefully we'll get all of those buttoned up pretty quickly.
Yeah, let me sort of just add to that. The work that the staff obviously put in and department heads and chiefs is just incredible, obviously, and our outside contractors have been fabulous.
Chris Hodgson.
Chris Hodgson,
Yeah.
in particular.
Yeah, Chris is very good, very good.
And I'm sorry that I missed the meeting where the GEA contract was approved because I was involved in all those meetings and probably mentioned, but I'll just say it again. Some of the decisions about reclassification of some of the positions and just some of the overall decisions about wage increases and step dropping some of the lower steps. A lot of that, the leadership in the GEA did some very strong background work, which was helpful, I believe, to both the staff here that works for it and definitely people like myself who was part of it. So that was probably all said at the last meeting. I'll just say it again.
Thank you for your involvement in that. Okay, item 13, correspondence, something I had received from Laura Reyna, who I've had several conversations. She's also somewhat of a neighbor. She's around the corner from me. She lives on the corner of Seaside and Whitfield Street, that White House right on the corner, on the green side. And this is not the first time that she's brought this to somebody's attention. She had discussed it with Rick. Rick had given me a heads up on it a couple of weeks ago. And in addition to the concern about the environmental stuff, there was also a concern expressed around the amount of traffic. Not much we can do with the beach as a destination point. This is really a move that I would suggest belongs at Park and Rec for their consideration, the Park and Rec Commission. So
I don't understand, frankly, what you want to designate another spot, they all go there, get on a bus and then get down.
Yes.
Sounds like.
Yeah, that's the idea.
yeah, which I think is problematic in a couple of ways. One, you would need staff at both ends to manage that process. You wouldn't have a single drop off at a time point. It also significantly restricts the convenience of or the timing of when parents can drop off because if they don't all show up at the same time. So I think it's a stretch myself, but this is clearly something that belongs in the hands, I think, of the commission in terms of how they do the program. So
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
I just, yeah, I can appreciate she has a traffic issue and that type of thing, but I mean, all we would be doing was switching issue. I mean, we wouldn't be changing the amount of traffic or anything, we'd be creating more. And probably in a downtown area, which isn't any better.
that's
Well, here, it is a Park and Rec, I guess.
okay. There we go. Item 14, old business. Anyone have any new business? Hearing none. Public forum. Anyone wishing to address the board in public forum, either live, Sarah, no, this,
No?
this is Olivia's our intern.
Oh,
She's
she's
here.
summer intern.
Summer intern.
Oh, hi. How are you? Oh, well, I feel that it's a kind of, I don't want to beat a dead horse.
Come on up and
All right.
you want to do it. It's- Certainly put yourself on the record for it. I think
Okay,
that's what you want.
I think I would like to do
Yeah,
that.
so Sarah, if you wouldn't mind, just your name and address for the record, and then please share your thoughts with us.
My name is Sarah Torf. I live at 125 Little Meadow Road. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to address you. This is a statement I'd like to read that I've written regarding the lecture of the Honorable Judge Robinson. For the past 18 months, the term critical race theory, or CRT, as it has been bandied about by a group of worried Guilford citizens, as well as non-residents, as a catch-all term for what they believe is a destructive and foundational part of the curriculum in Guilford schools at the K-12 levels. Despite repeated and documented assertions by the Guilford Board of Ed that CRT is not taught in schools, this group refuses to accept the validity of these statements, and many argue that such terms as inclusion, diversity, acceptance, justice, etc., are code for a backdoor infiltration of CRT into the curriculum. I would add off the page that when I came home this weekend, I did see a letter in the Courier directly stating that this was used as, these terms were used as code. When this dust-up began, I wanted to know more. What exactly is CRT? This spring, I was fortunate enough to be able to study critical race theory at the undergraduate college level in a class taught by Dr. Chris Seeley at Fairfield University. There is no time to go into the specifics of the class, its content, or why the vocabulary of inclusion and diversity are not bound to or even invented by CRT. Suffice it to say, it isn't. A couple of weeks ago, the Honorable Angela Robinson, as you have learned about her, an attorney, legal scholar, and retired judge, presented a detailed explication of CRT to the Guilford Human Rights Commission. After her presentation, the commission felt that her lecture was extremely valuable and would be a great resource to the larger Guilford community for facts rather than conjecture about the scope and the limits of CRT. Frankly, speaking only for myself, I'm not sure I accept all the premises of CRT. Since its inception decades ago, the central framework has been tweaked and reworked by many scholars in the field of law, Black studies, and civil rights. There is no one CRT. None of these developments, however, have anything to do with the current curriculum. To sponsor a talk on a topic that makes some people angry or nervous is not a mandate for them or anyone else to buy into it or to accept it. Sponsoring a talk by someone who is eminently qualified in the subject area is an invitation to learn, to ask questions, and to calmly consider the facts. Thank you for the opportunity.
Sarah, thank you very much. Full disclosure, I had the pleasure of marrying Sarah, not personally. In my role as a judge of the peace, several years ago, I performed the marriage. How long ago was that now?
Well, it'll be 11 years, and my son just got married this past weekend, so it's coming full circle. Thank you.
And you didn't have Matt do it?
Yeah, I had to settle for my husband.
Wait a minute, that might be quoted. This is-
Yeah, I gotta take that out of the record.
All right, anyone else in public forum? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second,
Second.
non-debatable, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay.